Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to our channel where we unpack the stories behind the headlines and follow the subtle moves that shape the future of the monarchy. Today's deep dive centers on the Prince and Princess of Wales and a decision that looks, on the surface, like a simple house move, but carries the weight of strategy, symbolism, and controversy. For 3 years, Adelaide Cottage has been the Wales family's sanctuary, a modest 4-bedroom jewel tucked in the home park at Windsor. It suited a moment in time, a young family stepping out of London, seeking privacy, and a semblance of normality for 3 growing children. But if Adelaide was a pause, Forest Lodge looks like a declaration. Reports indicate William and Catherine will relocate later this year into Forest Lodge, a Grade 2 listed mansion deep within Windsor Great Park. The phrase from those close to the couple is unmistakable: a forever home, not a stopgap, not a grace and favor perch, a base designed to endure, through school years, through accession, through the next great chapter of the crown. And yet, what should have been a smooth transition has stirred quiet anger. 2 families, renting cottages converted from Forest Lodge's old stables, were told to vacate earlier this summer. Not with eviction notices or spectacle, this was done discreetly, Crown Estate style. Tenants were reportedly offered similar or better accommodation within the Great Park. Still, they were surprised, even stunned. The explanation whispered by a well-connected voice was practical and stark. Those houses are very close to the lodge, and if the royals are moving in, proximity becomes security, and privacy, priority number 1. So why Forest Lodge, and why now? Start with the house itself. Forest Lodge is not ostentation, it is substance. An 8-bedroom, 300-year-old residence with Venetian windows, a chandelier-lit ballroom, and a sweep of grounds that read like a promise of calm. It sits inside nearly 4,800 acres of parkland, wrapped in space, silence, and control. In 2001, it underwent a sensitive restoration to preserve its period charm: stonework, intricate plaster, marble fireplaces, even that remarkable half-barrel vaulted hallway, ensuring the mansion's bones remained intact while its structure stepped into the modern age. It is a house built for generational purpose, not seasonal fashion. Then consider the family. George, Charlotte, and Louis are no longer toddlers. They are forming habits, identities, expectations. They are settled at Lambrook, a short drive away. The Waleses have always insisted on protecting their children from the theater of royal life, just enough exposure to understand duty, just enough distance to grow up without spectacle. Forest Lodge is that philosophy made brick and garden. No crowds, no tour buses, no day trippers peering through hedges, just a contained environment where security and childhood can coexist. The symbolism and optics matter. The couple are said to be paying for the move and renovations themselves, with no extra cost to taxpayers. That point will be repeated often, and it should be. In an era when the crown is scrutinized line by line and pound by pound, the finances must be unimpeachable. Still, it's not lost on anyone that this is a considerable upgrade from Adelaide Cottage, a leap from modest royal to sovereign-in-waiting. The message is clear: this is the long game. A home that can host private briefings at breakfast and state-level conversations by candlelight, a ballroom that can pivot from family milestone to charity reception without leaving the estate. If all this sounds unusually deliberate, that's because it is. The Waleses have been living through a period of intense pressure. 2024 tested the institution and the family in equal measure. King Charles's cancer treatment, Catherine's own health battle, the ongoing fissure with the Sussexes, and a public conversation that swings, hour by hour, between affection, expectation, and fatigue. Adelaide Cottage, once a cradle of quiet, became the setting for too many heavy days. Forest Lodge offers a reset, a place to heal privately and prepare publicly. Now, about those displaced tenants. Even with alternative homes offered, the human story matters. These weren't luxury shortlets. They were lived-in cottages with routines, friendships, and roots. Being asked to move for a royal neighbor, even the future king, is jarring. Is it unjust? For some, yes. For security planners, it's standard. This is the Crown Estate, where governance is part legal, part traditional, and always strategic. You may disagree with the result and still understand the rationale. If Forest Lodge is to become the country's most sensitive private residence after the palace itself, its perimeter must be engineered, not improvised. There's also the Windsor chessboard to consider. Royal Lodge and the ongoing saga surrounding the Duke of York has hovered over these discussions for months. Some predicted the Waleses would inherit it by proximity, if not by preference. Others suggested a private suite inside Windsor Castle, which would have solved the security question altogether, but that solution would have sacrificed independence. In choosing Forest Lodge, the couple sidestepped the Andrew conundrum, keep their children outside the palace bubble, and remain within reach of the castle's ceremonial heartbeat. It is near, but not beholden. What will change day to day? More than you might think. Adelaide Cottage offered intimacy, but little elasticity. Forest Lodge offers elastic space, for private staff to come and go without disturbance, for charity teams to meet in a controlled environment, for school pickups to be routine rather than broadcast. Insiders say the family will retain Kensington Palace Apartment 1A in London and Anmer Hall in Norfolk. But Forest Lodge becomes the fulcrum, the place where homework is done, where holiday mornings are slow, and where the next Prince of Wales slowly learns the architecture of kingship by watching his father's calendar compress. Public perception will be a delicate equation. On one side, a couple paying their way, moving a short distance, keeping the children's rhythms stable, and strengthening security at a uniquely sensitive time. On the other, a 16 million house, heritage grandeur, and two families asked to pack up because of who their neighbor will be. Both can be true at once, and that tension is precisely where the modern monarchy lives, between private prudence and public symbolism, between what's necessary and what's palatable. Why call it their forever home? Because it likely is. Not forever as in centuries, forever as in the length of William's public life. Even as king, Windsor will continue to be the family's axis. London will be work, Scotland will be soul, but Windsor is home. Forest Lodge gives them the means to exist at Windsor without being consumed by it. A family house first, a quasi-royal residence second. That is intentional. There's one more layer here, something subtle but essential. The couple's brand has always been modern tradition. They don't reject the old language of monarchy, they translate it. Forest Lodge is a sentence in that language, a stately home that's still a house, a heritage footprint that's still family-sized. It's not a palace, it's not an apartment, and it's not a compromise. It's a signal that even in a season of turbulence, the line of succession is setting down roots, quietly and firmly. What happens next? Planning documents for minor internal and external alterations have reportedly been lodged, signaling a light-touch refresh rather than a gut renovation. Think security hardening hidden behind timber paneling, family spaces adjusted for 3 children who will be teenagers in the blink of an eye, and the infrastructure required for a household that must stay low profile but permanently ready. The move itself is slated for later this year, a transition time to avoid disruption to the school calendar and to allow a gentle goodbye to Adelaide Cottage, a house that served its purpose with quiet dignity. Will the controversy fade? Likely, yes, at least publicly. The Great Park absorbs stories the way it absorbs morning mist, but for those two families the memory will linger, and so will the lesson. Every step the Waleses take now carries dual weight, personal and constitutional. A new front door is never just a new front door. It's a threshold between what was and what will be. In the end, Forest Lodge may come to symbolize this moment in the monarchy, a move made softly, wrapped in courtesy and careful accounting, yet undeniably assertive. A house that closes one chapter, the experimental modesty of Adelaide Cottage, and opens another, stability, scale, and the long view. Whether you see that as wise stewardship or quiet overreach may depend on whether your windows ever looked out on those lawns. What's your take? Is Forest Lodge a prudent, privately funded investment in security and stability, or an uncomfortable echo of royal privilege at a time when optics matter more than ever? Do you read this as a family seeking peace or a dynasty setting the board? Share your thoughts below. We read every comment. If you value deep, nuanced royal coverage without the fluff, please like this video and subscribe so you never miss our next update. The story of Forest Lodge has only just begun, and as ever with Windsor, the most important moves are the ones made in silence.